Okay, let's get rocking and rolling. Welcome to episode 3 of my Minecraft creative series. Now, I've not really given myself a second to compose myself, so forgive me if I'm a bit don't know what I'm saying, because I've rushed in after doing my 10,000 steps day. So again, apologies if I'm a little bit sweaty, because I just want to get this done as quick as I can, so I can get it out there, I suppose. But yeah, it was just a convenient time to go for a walk and get my steps. So yeah, anyway, you don't need to hear my life story. Why do I always ramble like this? But anyway, now I know there's at least one person, shout out to Amber, I hope she doesn't mind me mentioning a name, that is interested in my Minecraft series, which is fantastic. As much as I'm sort of doing it for myself anyway, because I am, it's cool that people want to watch it. So just thank you if you're here. You can see there is my castle from the last episode, and today, I don't know if I've even decided on a title yet. I'm so unorganised. I had two main ideas, so I definitely wanted to connect the castle up to my village, which is probably what the title's going to be fair. So that was a priority from getting onto the game. I wanted to connect it up because it's obviously a bit away from the village at the minute, and I really want them to sort of be interlinked so you can get up there basically. So that's something that I do try and tackle in this episode. But I had two main ideas. Now, I mentioned in the last episode there's some space sort of just below the stairs that I made up to the castle, and I'd like to put some buildings in there. So that was one of my ideas, to just populate that probably with just houses. But the other idea I had was there's a building down in the main village near the water that I've just decided I'm not happy with and has to go. So I do end up tackling that in this episode, and I more end up doing that than the buildings near the castle, as you'll see as we progress through the video. So I think again I've got, is it about a 48 minutes, so we're looking at about 50 minutes, but I know I did leave it running at the end of this video because I've learnt my lessons, and just leave a bit of time at the end of the video instead of me from that first video rushing to try and finish what I'm saying, because you know what I'm like when I start telling a story as well, I just can't stop. I didn't realise I was this talkative. You might have just noticed at the base of that tree there's a bit of the stump showing. I think I fixed it now, look, because again that really annoys me. Now, just looking at that tree, I mean, I do like those really big flat ones. Oh, I've squashed the grass, and I think I replaced the grass there, and I've done that a fair few times in this episode, just replacing the grass, because I think I really like the way it looks naturally, and I don't want to ruin any more of that than I have to. I'll say that, but then I do chop down quite a few trees in this episode. But yeah, as I make the path, you'll see I sort of replace grass as I go along to make it look as it did. I'm a bit funny with stuff like that. I don't know, I'm not always like it, but you'll see as we get through the series. I am aiming to release one video a day, so whenever you tune in, should be a video every single day. Now, I imagine there'll be a day where that's not possible, and again, I've not fully got back into teaching yet, and it might be a very different story. If you subscribe to my vlog channel, you might know I'm absolutely over the moon today because I've realised that I can keep doing YouTube as far as I'm aware, which is fantastic, because as you know, I was quite worried that I might have to stop doing it after what had been said on my training day, but I actually managed to speak to the principal today and sort of get the all clear. If you want to hear more about it, go watch my vlog channel if you subscribe to it. It's under a different name now, and I sort of regret saying the names before now. There's so many mistakes I've made, but I don't want to start from fresh. I want to see it from the beginning of the journey, like it is authentic. And do I really want to start again? Like this village I've obviously gone from, it was basically just as it spawned, as you saw. All I did was add those little, what do you even call them? Little piers in for ships and things. So yeah, what do I say next? I don't even know. So yeah, I'm just over the moon I can keep doing YouTube. Here you can see I'm putting in the path that leads up to the castle. I think I've got a lot more actually in the video that I can talk about today, as opposed to me just talking about my life. But that aside, as we get rid of that tree, I know I'm going to do it. I do destroy a few trees in this episode, and sometimes I have a rule of, if I destroy a tree, I've got to plant a tree somewhere else, just to, don't know, so I don't end up with no trees, but I don't know if that's realistic. I'm bearing in mind this village is practically in a spruce forest, so there's a lot of trees that I'd be having to plant somewhere, but anyway. So I think I have got a couple of things that I might talk about if there's not a lot going on in the video. Let me have a look. So yeah, I've written down a couple of notes as to things that I didn't quite finish talking about in my last video. There's always something. and I've still got the ones from the very first one, which was so much I didn't get into. But as I keep going through this journey, I start thinking, did I overshare too much? Like today, after speaking to the principal, yeah, well, the questions that she asked was like, have you used your real name? And I was like, it's got my surname in it, so now I'm thinking I shouldn't have used my real name, which I obviously have changed the channel name now. I think the channel name for the game channel is quite funny. I was trying all sorts of different things when I decided, and I don't know, I'm mixing up my words, but I'd sort of thought about just making the videos private and then only sharing it with my friends, which again is an option if this ends up messing up. But yeah, I was thinking of different names that I want to do for this channel, and I was thinking like I don't want to use like my real initials. Like I was really thinking into it, and anyway, I'd obviously come up with this like level idea because I thought in my head, and I can't remember. I've got in my notes in my phone. Maybe I should look at some of the ideas of the channel names I came up with because I kept jotting them down, so I knew which ones I tried and which ones to not try again. I was just trying to find one that was available, basically. It's funny because the first thing that is written in this note, and it's all about my YouTube channel and what I wanted to do, is life is short, so do what makes you happy. Now, obviously, that's to an extent because there's sometimes that's not a good idea. And actually, underneath it, it does say, but maintain balance because too much of anything is bad for you. So there's two of my inspirational quotes. First of all, life's short, so do what makes you happy, providing it's appropriate. And then also make sure everything is balanced because too much of anything is bad for you. Like they are just things to live by. But anyway, I've written oh my gosh, I didn't realise how much I've written in this note today. I've like ruled off, as you should do in any lesson. And I put ITRT, which stands for YouTube Rethink. So I'm really rethinking like what am I going to do, because I've realised how much I enjoy it and I don't want to stop it, but I want to do something. So anyway, I'm not going to read through everything that I've thought of because gosh, I'm something of an oversharer anyway, aren't I? But the gaming channel, I'm not going to go through like all the things I thought of, but what was it? So okay, so I went down the line of, I started just putting initials. Like obviously before it was my surname gaming. I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to cover it up because it's in my old videos as well. And I'm like, do I go back and delete those videos? But I don't want to delete those videos. It shows like where I've come from. Anyway, so I thought about different initials in front of gaming. I didn't want to use my actual initials. So then I started thinking, well, could I just do like the next one, the alphabet, etc., etc. Anyway, basically loads of those are taken. Surprise, surprise. So I went down eventually the idea of like looking at projects. Now, obviously, I've talked before about the Syndicate project. It was a YouTuber, Tom Cassell, that I really like watching, and where a lot of my inspiration has come from. Although, oh gosh, I need to be careful what I say. I don't want to offend people or anything, but I put his vlog on last night and I did get bored of it. It was like 2 hours long, but I bet people get bored of my vlogs. Gosh, anyway, is it worth thinking about? Am I trying to entertain people or am I just doing it for my benefit? I don't really know. But anyway, I know that one of my friends, Amber, as I mentioned, is watching this and she's enjoying it. So that is great for me because then it's not just for me, it's for someone else too. But I know for me, as I've explained before, like when I get settled into bed and whatever, I quite like something to watch to make me feel sleepy. And yeah, on YouTube, that like I said, some really interesting stuff. But I do wish there was a bit more. Just while I'm here, you can see I was thinking of building houses and whatnot. But then I thought, you guys don't want to just see me build the same houses as always. So I might go and finish those another time off camera. And then I decided to come down here to this building. Is it going to show it? I'll have to wait till it's in shot. So I'm obviously finishing a bit of the path here. But that building there, right in front, is the one that I think, you know what, I'm really not happy with that one. So I ended up demolishing it and actually putting in 2 more brick houses, which I practically finished. I've just not done any interiors in the buildings that I've done today. If that's something that you want, I'm doing this particularly for Amber now. Amber, it's whatever you want to see. This is our channel now. I hope you don't mind me mentioning your name. This is the thing, I always do things and then regret it afterwards. But if you commented, like everyone can see your comment, so I'm hoping you don't mind. But anyway, thank you for commenting. Like that's given me a push, not that I needed one, because already I was so excited to just come home today and record another video, maybe as sad as that sounds, but it's just a hobby. I've actually got something that I really enjoy, which is Ace, and it's not really doing me any harm. I'm still doing my 10,000 steps a day, so I'm being fairly active. I just hope I can get a bit slimmer. I hate how round my face looks. I need to be careful about revealing vulnerable things like that, because I know if people find out, they'll start targeting me for it. But I've got thick skin. Gosh, I've, like everybody, lived through a lot in my lifetime. So, but like I say, life's got sort of a bit more simple now. By the way, that floating glass, I do notice it in the end. Oh, I whacked him. Whoopsie daisy. I do notice it in the end, and I go and get rid of it. I think I'm just leveling off here. And again, replacing the tree stump, I think is what I do. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't need to narrate all of this. You'll see it as it's happening. So yeah, I think I was saying I get distracted so often. Sometimes I watch my videos back and realise how often I get distracted. It's bad, but I've just got so much stuff. Oh look, I saw those villagers in the background. I just got distracted again. Potentially making a child. But I think in the end, I don't know if I scared them off or they just weren't able to move. It's a bit of a strange one, that one. Now, just in terms of, while I'm on it, villagers and population, like, I'm not really bothered, so I'm not going to probably spawn them in unless you particularly want me to. Like I say, my interest really is the buildings and the infrastructure, but I appreciate that's not everyone's interest, so whatever you want to see. And I'm aware, Amber, I've not seen you in so long, like I keep messaging asking if you're free, and I know that's adult life, and it's probably my fault really, because I always ask you like the same day or the day before it's happening. But we do need to sort something out, because gosh, I've not seen you in ages and I'd love to have a catch up. There we go, I've got rid of the glass. Fantastic. So anyway, looping back to conversations I've not finished, I'm just going to build these houses in the background. I really wanted it to be shops, but ended up doing houses instead. And I always think, like, when you think about how a village grows, it usually starts as houses and then buildings transform into shops. Now, if anyone knows or has heard of, like, the old Simpsons in Scunthorpe, it was a pet shop. That was where my first job was. Unfortunately, it's not a thing anymore, because the owner that I worked with, and I can tell you, well, I guess I can tell you all about it if you want to hear it. Maybe I should be careful, because it's maybe not my story to tell, but yeah, why it would be private, I don't know. The owner just retired, and I think his son was not interested in keeping the family business running, which is such a shame, because I think it'd be going, and I could be wrong, but for about 125 years, and those buildings had just started as like houses sort of in the countryside, because Ashby was a village a long time ago. I'd love to do a video about the history of Scunthorpe, but it'll be, yeah, don't know. Ashby was a village a long time ago, because Scunthorpe basically was 5 villages that grew and merged together, which is just crazy, which is sort of why we've got the Ashby High Street and then the different High Street. But yeah, anyway, completely different topic. And these were just houses that were sort of in Ashby, and then obviously there was a lot of farmland around there. It's quite agricultural. There was a lot of jobs from the steelwork, but yeah, they were just houses. And then people realised, okay, there's obviously either they wanted to do it, like my YouTube, or they realised that there was a bit of a demand for it in terms of like animal feed, because there was farmland around, and people used to, have to rear their own animals. I think that's the right word. I think rear means like raise and use as farming. So yeah, they were just houses. I think 2 or 3 houses, which is crazy. And then because the family owned all of them, I don't know if they owned all of them from the beginning or if they acquired them. They just turned it into one massive building, and then it evolved into a shop. Now, you wouldn't have probably known it was houses without that information. Don't know, maybe you could have told from the outside, because the building was practically left unchanged, and it's now turning into a funeral director's. And you can sort of still see like the old building, and I know the old layout. It's maybe, I know they've been like knocking things down, putting a new roof on it and stuff, so it could have completely changed. But yeah, at the point I'm trying to get to, and bless her, Amber knows what I'm like for going off on tangents with stories. I just appreciate you listening. But I don't know. What am I talking about? Yeah, so like villages normally start like from buildings, don't they? And then eventually maybe turn into shops as the demand's there, or people want to, or get the planning permission. Because that's another thing I thought I really need to build, like a council building for this village or whatever. So that's like where all the decisions are made. And I really want to try and keep track of like how many houses I've got, what the population would be, which is so sad. I'll probably do it off camera. But it'll be easy. Like if I just build a house for 2 people on an episode, I just add 2 to whatever the population count is, I think. So yeah, it's purely make believe, and I don't think I'm going to spawn the villagers in unless you want me to. But yeah, I'm going to try and keep track of what the population should be, and then from that work out how many people should be working, what kind of services they need. Because like eventually, like for example, I'd love to build like a leisure centre, but I'm not going to build a leisure centre for a village that's this small because you just don't really see it. Maybe you should start with like a village hall. That's something they would have. But yeah, these are things that I need to think about off camera, which I sort of have done, as you can tell, and then build it into my videos. So yeah, I've explained why I sort of wanted them to be shops, but they ended up as houses. But as I've said, I can always turn houses into shops. And don't ever think because I've built a building in Minecraft, it's staying there. Excuse me, that was awful. You'll realise as we get through the series that eventually as things grow or I don't like buildings anymore, I will just demolish them and then, or even like just turn them into something else. Like I said, could just turn these into shops, as I just said in that story. So let me think what else. I'm sure there was another story that I wanted to finish. I'm useless. My teaching is not like this, I promise. It's because I've got the opportunity to just talk about whatever I want to, whereas I know in teaching that it's not the time or the place to talk about things. Anyway, so ironically, something I've got on this list of things, stories that I didn't finish, was like why I went into teaching. Now I did watch a bit of my old video back earlier today, like just while I had some free time, which sounds really sad, but I think it's good because I can reflect on it and see what I need to improve in my village, or see if I'm cringing myself out and what I need to not say. Because I realised, like from my first vlog video, that I need to just stop saying that I'm nervous and just get on with it, because I didn't come across nervous at all, and I realised I need to stop like twitching my face. But that's obviously something people do when they're nervous. I don't think I'm doing it now, so I'm just cracking on with it. But anyway, yeah, why I went to teaching. Well, I sort of explained why I love maths so much and never got on to fully why that links into computer science. So that's another thing that I could go into. Not very exciting, but I need to talk about something in the background of these videos, and I'm going to try my best to not talk about work at all. I mean, I think in general I'm just going to say like maybe what sort of day I've had, but that'll be it, I think. And I really need to think about that and be careful about it. But I can't even tell you how supportive I think the principal was, and I don't know if she like fully understands what I'm doing. I did think like, should I just send them a link to my YouTube channel so she can check it out and check that it's all above board and stuff. Maybe she wouldn't like me talking about these sorts of things, so yeah, I need to be super careful. But the fact that she's given me the green light is amazing, and if you do want to hear more about it, it's over on my vlog channel if you're already subscribed to it. I'm not going to mention the names of it just in case like one channel gets discovered, because basically I've realised I'm sort of trying to go undiscovered from students, but perfectly fine for anyone out in the world to discover me, which is crazy. Yeah, anyway, that's the approach we'll be taking. So yeah, teaching. I think I sort of explained why I went into teaching in my last video anyway, so I'm not going to dive into that. What's the next thing? Oh, so what my ideal game would be like, because I think I spoke in my last episode about why I quite like Minecraft, and why I chose Minecraft. Yeah, I did, but I didn't quite get onto what my perfect game would be like. So I explained that City Skylines is quite blocky, and I don't think you get like the right shaped gardens or the right shaped buildings, and I wish you had a bit more control over those. So my ideal game basically would, if I could make any game whatsoever, would probably be more like City Skylines, because you have got a lot of freedom on City Skylines, but where you could customize it. So I want a blend of like City Skylines but The Sims, because I love how much detail you can put into those buildings. So I want to be able to edit the outside of the building and also the inside if I can be bothered. And I've had so many great ideas of like a game that I could make from that, but I just don't have the knowledge, the expertise, the patience. I think if I really had the patience, maybe I could do it. But like I say, when I've looked into programming just a simple city building game, it's not worth the energy that you put in, which is so sad. Because if you think if I had the capability to make a perfect game, like maybe I should make that my goal. Like, is that my I have completed life? I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty happy at the minute just from doing this, which is crazy. I was watching a video on YouTube last night. I watched a few that was interesting me about like how to. It just popped up, and it was about how to achieve like ultimate satisfaction in life. And I thought, okay, I'll read this, because I've quite often thought like, oh, I'm not really happy with the way my life's progressing. I always just want. I don't know if I'm always going to be like this. I always just feel like I want more. I'm not often, and sometimes I am, but not often, very satisfied with how things are in my life, which is crazy because I have got so many of the things that I've wanted for such a long time. Like the like I think I go into one of my videos about how much I desperately wanted a house after college. It was the last one, I'm sure, and I've got that. So I've got that, and now I'm still not happy. So it's always going to be like I've got that next thing, and I'm still not happy. But like I say, this is really I can't believe how much this has ticked my boxes. But yeah, I need to stop ranting about it because it's not interesting or exciting, in my opinion. If you want to hear about it, let me know. But anyway, so yeah, my ideal game would be like a blend of City Skylines, but also The Sims. So you could design both the outside and the inside if you wanted to. Now, as I've said, I don't do any of the interiors of these houses in this episode. So if that's something you want to see, just a second on that staircase that I'm building. I don't know how I feel about the cobble wall on the cobble background, and even just the cobble stairs against the cobble roof. It's just a lot of cobble for someone that is quite particular about like the way things look and stuff. I don't know, so maybe that's something that needs changing. I reckon eventually I'll turn the cobble paths into stone brick paths, because as I've said, that's usually my preferred material, but we'll see. We will absolutely see. Right, so I've talked about those things. It's a fairly long episode today, but basically I just do, well, you can see now I've decided to start editing this building in front of me. And I say editing because really I just sort of expand it, but in the end it just looks like a completely new building apart from a bit I've kept on the side, which I sort of want to keep to remind myself what was there before, if that makes sense. And I know that happens in real life, like people have, like if someone buys a mill, they keep part of the mill because it's like that authentic style, isn't it? I don't know. So that's sort of what I was thinking for this building, but you'll see how it evolves. I finish that building and that's all I do in this episode. But this building, I must say, I know all of the houses I've built so far are very sort of basic, whereas as you can see, this one is going to have just a little bit more character to it, so you might want to see how that one turns out. Right, I don't know where I got up to on this list, just bear with me. What's my obsession with Minecraft? What my ideal game would be like? Right, it's on to why I loved computer science. Now, I did say why I love maths so much, and I didn't really explain like why that ties into computer science, so I apologise if you've done computer science or you know about it, and I'm boring you out of your brains, but I am literally just like giving a bit of something extra to the videos rather than it just being Minecraft, which if I'm being honest, when I watch them back, like I think it works quite well because watching what's going on in the background, I think it progresses quite slow, as I've said, like I sort of wish you could speed it up. I don't know if that's something I can do. I'm not going to mess about with it now, maybe it's something for the future. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep getting these awful sort of like hiccups, it's very strange. Anyway, so maths, computer science. Well, basically, for anyone that doesn't know, computers just run off maths because basically all a computer can actually interpret, if I've understood right, is a 1 or a 0. They work in binary, which is crazy because if you think about all the things we can do on a computer, every single one of those things is broken down into 1s and 0s because that's the only thing it can understand. Like a computer can only understand if something is on or off. Now the way it gets more complicated is where we start combining those on or offs, those 1s and 0s, and you can say that, okay, if I've got this pattern of 1s and 0s, that means and or not or but. I have said those right, which again all feeds into maths. Someone's getting picked up. So if you do maths, like particularly with Oasis in year 10, you'll learn about, and you do it in year 9 actually as well, about set notation, and you have to define what elements are in A and B, or A but not B. So it seems pretty random at the time, but you do get to see some real life examples. But it also applies to computing. It's just something that doesn't get taught as part of the curriculum. Now, just on a bit of a side note, and again, don't want to cause any friction, but I've asked my department before if I could do like a sort of computer science club, and it got shut down pretty quickly. And I did ask this like when I first started at the school, which was like 3 years ago now. And it's all for the right reasons. Like they want to. They're basically saying if you want to run a club, it should be maths based, which is fair enough. But it would be maths based. It would just focus on computers too. But then maybe it's something I should ask about again, but the passion is definitely there for computer science. I absolutely loved it at GCSE. It's to the point where when I was buying some resources to help use for my maths lessons, I did actually buy some computer science resources too because I thought I'm interested in that. I've not looked at them, but I can pretty much remember it all because I found it that interesting. It's like stuck in there, if you get me. I say I remember it all when I went and watched how to code a blooming game. I was like, oh my gosh. And it's been a few years, as you've heard, 3 years since I was at university. So all that code, I mean, it was sort of familiar. Little things like, I think they were doing work in Visual Studio, and I know I did a lot of my coursework in Visual Studio, which for anyone that's not familiar with it is basically just a coding program which lets you do really cool stuff, to be fair. But there were little things that I recognised, like, what even was it? Just that, like, everything has to be in a bracket, or the little chevrons. Oh my god, it was like having a nightmare, like flashback. I say that, but I was literally saying to my sister, like, yesterday, I absolutely miss uni. Like, I'd do anything to go back because it's just that whole thing of the grass is always greener. There's another one of my phrases which does apply to a lot of stuff. Like, here's me saying that I don't know what I'd do without YouTube, but I'm sure I'd find something else to do. It's just nice that I found something that really ticks those boxes, but I need to stop going on about it. I just can't believe how much it has made me happy, which is weird. Very weird. Anyway, going on about it again. So, looping back, trying to remind myself what I was talking about. Computer science, how it uses, like, probability in a way. I just noticed my laptop is not plugged in. What's it say? 28%. Great, but how long is that going to last? Because I'm only halfway through this video from what I can see. I could just grab my charger, it's literally right there. Plug it in, I don't think so. So yeah, absolutely love computer science. Is that what I wanted to talk about? Why I loved computer science? I think so. That's what this is on my list anyway. Plugged in, happy days. So, next thing on the list, let's see. I'm getting through these fairly quick actually. I'm quite worried that if I get to later episodes, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But we'll see. It's nice that I had so many things from the offset, but now I've sort of chilled out a bit and my brain's not going pew 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 pew. Because eventually, like, obviously when I've talked about why I love computer science, I don't need to say it again. Hopefully I'm not going to be like a broken record, because I don't want to be someone that's just boring to listen to, which I'm probably failing at miserably already. Okay, next thing is why I think it should be called Twitter. So, yeah, I mean, obviously Twitter got bought by Elon Musk, a very successful businessman. I think he was the richest person in the world a year or two ago. I don't know if he still is. I'm sure I saw that somewhere. I should check my facts really, shouldn't I? But I never finished that story either. Yeah, he bought Twitter and obviously decided, I guess he wanted to make it his, just like when you buy a house and you want to make it your house. But I do also think something I always say is don't fix it if it's not broken. And was it broken? I mean, he obviously thought so, but I think it was fine as it was. So, yeah, in my head, oh my gosh, there's a beautiful rainbow outside. I'm not going to show you though, because I'm very keen to not reveal where I live as well. Which is a shame because it's beautiful. It's a really nice rainbow. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so useless. So useless. How can I forget what I was talking about? Oh look, I pushed him out. I've been abusive in this episode. So we're just over halfway through, which is crazy because I don't think I'd do a lot more in this episode. I know I finished the floor off. That's what I'm doing now. But other than that, I don't think I do a lot more really. Oh, my sister's ringing me. Let's see what she wants. Oh, I've got left. I can't even pause it, I don't think. I could just stop it. Oh, there is a pause button. Yikes. Don't know how I feel about that. It's going to be all patchy. Let's hope it's not urgent. That's 2 calls I've missed. I'm popular. Yeah, that popular that I'm doing YouTube in my spare time. But that's what I want to do. I mean, I'm sure I could go and socialise if that's what I wanted to do. But I'm dead set on saving money as well. I really want to save for a new car. is something that I want to do. And this doesn't cost me anything apart from the electric and the time, because time is money, isn't it? I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I don't know if I just get distracted and then I thought, oh, I'll show a bit in my video how there is some land over there. That's like the mainland where a lot of my other creative builds are, but they're really far away. So if I am going to do a train line anywhere, it's probably going to be in that direction, unless I find another little village that is somewhere close by, and I'll probably link the two together. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. So I thought actually earlier about oh, hang on one second. Just while I'm here, I was thinking what to do with this area, because I don't like that building either. I really need like a set of buildings that just sort of go up there and follow along the stair line, but haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do it yet. But I should probably just go for it, because, because it's Minecraft, I can just change it if I don't like it. So again, now I've got distracted, I forgot what I was talking about. This is not good. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? So, oh yes, I remember. So I was thinking about, because it's quite a nice little village, it's quite scenic, about maybe doing some little like log cabins that people can stay in, and then making it a bit more like a holiday sort of village. Not entirely, like just a part of it. Just like, for example, like Cleethorpes has got what was Thorpe Park, it's now called Cleethorpes Beach, isn't it? To try and highlight that there's a nice beach there. So yeah, maybe like over there where the land sticks out on the little lake, I thought maybe just some little cabins might be quite nice, and that'd be a reason for tourists to come into the village too, instead of just people that live there. I've just remembered, I fully forgot that building just to the left there. I decided that I'm going to work on that one. I'd fully forgotten about that. It just shows how much I did in one episode, and maybe that's why it's a bit of a longer episode. I don't know if maybe I should chop them up in shorter ones, but then to be fair, if I was watching this in the evening, I'd want a nice long episode, I think. So it's pretty cool that in one episode I've tackled a few buildings, in my opinion. So this little hut here, I don't completely demolish it like the other ones, I actually just extend it and improve it. And I decide, in my head, it's sort of like a fishmonger's. Because obviously we said that this little village was going to be sort of part fishing, part wood, because there's all the woodland there. It's a good natural resource. And also maybe part mining, because there's the great big hill. So obviously this is near I would say the sea, but I think it's more just a huge river with a great big sort of lake attached to it. What do you even call that? If there's any geography teachers watching, they'll be cringing right now. I guess it's just a lake or reservoir, because I suppose you can have rivers that run into reservoirs. But yeah, because it's near the water, obviously that's where the fish is going to come in. I've got my little sort of docks there, if you like. So I thought this would be the perfect place where probably, just like in Grimsby, there's, I believe, from what I've seen on maps, like places near the docks where you can just buy the fish like straight away. So I thought that would be a perfect place for little fishmongers. So it doesn't really look like one at the minute. I end up opening up that front bit, making it, here we go, I turn all of that into a window, because obviously shops are a lot more open for some reason. I guess it just makes them look more inviting. Like, can you imagine a shop if it was just a little door at the front? You wouldn't feel like going in, would you? So again, like with this building, when I finally finish it, I don't actually decorate it. It is just the building. So I'm sorry I've not done any decorating in this episode, but as you know, I'm more interested in the architecture really than the decorating, and I don't really want to waste my time decorating unless that's something that people want to see, or I could use it to fill an episode if I'm really dry on content, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm sure I'll always think of something I can add to my village, which if you've got any suggestions, please let me know. It doesn't have to be in the comments. If you know me, just message me, and I can just do it. That is absolutely fine by me. So yeah, as you can see, I've extended it. I've basically made it like twice the size. It is twice the size, exactly. Doubled it in size. And then I do actually build a little bit up there where it's got another floor. So I would say second floor. I always get confused with that, like, because it's first floor, but obviously you call it a second floor because you've got the ground floor. I'm getting too deep about floors. So it's at this point where I just wish I could speed it up, because there's not a lot happening. But then I suppose I could go back to talking about some of the things that I've missed. So just maybe I should get like a random fact for every video. I mean, something I did think about, and I don't know how I feel about it, was I'm quite inspired a little bit by Mr. Beast as well. I'm sure you know who Mr. Beast is, like a massive YouTuber. But a suggestion I saw on what he did a short about it, or someone made a short about him, because for some reason it's always by someone else. I guess he's just that popular. It's like Mr. Beast said this, Mr. Beast said that. And there was a suggestion that if somebody just did like a scratch card a day or something, like a scratch card a video or whatever, then you could use like the ad revenue from it to pay for the next scratch card and just do that until you win a load of money and just do that forever. And I thought, what? And he says in the video that he reckons that people would watch it. Now, I get why that would be interesting, but I've got some thoughts on it. I mean, particularly, I don't know how I feel about gambling. I'm very reserved about gambling because I know it's such a risk. I myself would rather do something much more safe and secure because I know from gambling you can just lose all your money. It is a huge risk. Just while this is happening in the video, I quite like that little front arch on the front of the shop, and I think it reminds me again of what the building used to be like. But I messed around a bit with what it looks like, so I feel like I like the way it looks from the front, but then the cobble on the sides just doesn't quite look right. So in the end, I go back and change that cobble. I'm just adding another layer onto the building here, checking it looks okay. I think this is where I add the ladder in. It must be. I didn't think there was quite room for stairs. I mean, I probably could do it. If you've ever seen on Minecraft some of the towers that naturally spawn, they've got like a spiral staircase inside. I could do that, but I feel like it would take up a lot of space. So I thought I'll just put a simple ladder. Bearing in mind this is a fishmonger, like upstairs they're probably just going to keep either extra fish. It's not perfectly designed, this building, for it, really, is it? Either extra fish, or maybe it's just an office where they keep the money or keep tracks of the money or things. Yeah, maybe if I imagine that this is successful, I could end up building a whole other building on it. I could have a fish factory like in Grimsby. Maybe that's, oh my gosh, I could make this like industrial and go factory wise. I'm just going to nosy at how long I've got left. It says about 13 minutes. Now I know, again, as I've mentioned, I leave loads of time at the end of this video because I've learned I end up waffling usually, but I feel myself now, we're on episode 3, sort of running out of things to say. That's why I keep maybe looking at my list of stories that I've not finished. So like I say, maybe I'll have to do a random fact, or there was the option of that scratch card thing, but what if it just costs me a load of money and I don't really want to spend money, I want to save my money? So yeah, and I don't want to encourage people to gamble either, because honestly, like, yes, it's okay to have a bit of fun, but it's very risky. It's not ideal. So yeah, probably shouldn't do it. Anyway, food for thought. So let me have a look again at my list. Okay, the next thing on my list is why it's awkward getting spotted by students. Now again, I could probably do like a whole separate video on that, and I hope I'm not like eating up too much of my content. Now I can't even explain what it feels like to get spotted by students. It's something, I'm sure I touched on it in one of my other videos. I'm sure I've talked about it already. Yeah, because I remember saying, like, I saw some of my teachers at school. You don't think much of it as a student, so therefore I probably shouldn't think much about it as a teacher. But it's not nice, and most teachers will tell you the same thing. Because, I don't know, I suppose, like I've mentioned before in these videos, you feel like you've got to hold like a certain image as a teacher. Like, am I supposed to even show that I have good days and bad days? But what's wrong with showing that you're human? So yeah, I just know it's because you know you're being judged. Now, obviously, children are very sort of judgmental anyway, a lot more judgmental than adults. No offense to any children watching, it's completely normal. It's part of growing up. But you'll find that as you get older, you just sort of don't care as much. I mean, people can still be judgy, but not as judgy. I feel like when you're younger, you just judge everything. Which, don't let that be a bad thing. Like, go for it. I feel like I developed so much as a person. Just adding a little canopy on the window there, I think it really splits up, because I don't like how the window went straight onto the roof. So, and obviously a lot of shops do have a little bit of a canopy anyway, don't they? So that was why I put that in. I think it does look the part, and I was toying there with putting it on the side, but I just left it. And I don't know why, but I really feel like adding some sort of yard to the other side of that building, just where those trees are. I feel like it should be like a graveyard, but is that the right place for a graveyard? I've always been weird about graveyards. I really think eventually they'll be a thing of the past, because in my eyes they're just not renewable or sustainable. I think they've just come, again, like from a long time ago, because obviously a lot of people get cremated now rather than just buried as they are, but you can still have obviously like a gravestone for it. I don't know what I'm doing here, to be honest. I must just come and, I guess I've finished that building and deciding what to do next. Is at the end of my content. I've flown back up to my castle. I think I'll maybe finish those little buildings up near the castle another time, because if they're just bog standard houses like those ones at the back there that I've done today, then not very exciting to watch, unless you want me to try and do them a bit different, or maybe I should just do it anyway. I'm aware that I need some sort of shops in these villages now. I've just done the fishmongers. This is obviously the end of the video because I've just stopped. Um, although it does say, and I know I left it, so I left it recording for like 10 minutes. That's crazy. So I remember I kept thinking, oh, I'll just do another minute, because that first video, I ran out of time. My gosh, I can't even explain it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I must remember to finish off my story about graveyards, how exciting, and why I think they're a thing of the past. So I'll save that for the next episode. But again, just thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. I hope I'm making content that you want to see. But again, it's sort of more for me anyway, and I'm really enjoying the process. So just thank you if you have watched it, because that goes a bit of a way as well. It's nice to see that people are watching it and getting something out of it. So yeah, at the minute I have no idea what I'm going to do in the next episode. Not decided. I know those buildings up near the castle need finishing, and there's the option of shops. That little, roughly where the little cross the cursor is down there, there's a little, I don't even know what it is. It says there's a furnace. I think I should just replace that with a building maybe. I really want there to be like a bit of a high street down near this waterfront. So maybe that's food for thought in the next episode. I'm also aware that just over to the left, I want some buildings that kind of climb up the hill and follow the path up to the castle, as would naturally happen anyway. People will start to build along that trail, won't they? So that's some ideas of what might come in the future episodes, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to try and release one episode every day, but I am quite aware as well that things might come up. I've not fully got back into teaching. It might just kill me off like it used to do. And there might be the odd day where, I'm busy with other stuff. So I'm hoping somehow I'll get around it, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you again very soon for episode 4. I'm losing track already. How exciting!